Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Tuesday, the day after Arsenal's 2-2 draw with Crystal Palace at the Emirates. So obviously I didn't get to do a video after the game last night. I wasn't at the match, as I said in yesterday's video, because of some family stuff going on that meant I had to stay at home, but I did watch it. Obviously, I didn't get to do a video after the game doing usual player ratings, that sort of thing, so I thought I'd look at it a lot more in depth today, what was said after the match, give my thoughts on what I saw, and and hoping to read your comments and opinions as well about what exactly you saw last night and how you think that performance was, and how you feel after that disappointing result, really. And it was a disappointing result. It was a disappointing performance. More importantly for Arsenal, they sort of got something out of it somehow with that last minute goal from Saka, but it was just a really worrying performance, I thought. And, I defended them a little bit after the Brighton game because I thought, it was kind of coming off the back of the Spurs game where they played well, they had a couple of wins. You're allowed an off day, I thought, especially away from home against a decent Brighton team. But, I think this one was worrying. The fact that they've followed up that Tottenham win with the two performances they have now, the first at Brighton and then the second, especially the one yesterday at home against Palace, missing Wilfried Zaha, having got off to a good start. It was just a really worrying performance, I think, and it just summed up the whole enigma that is Arsenal under Mikel Arteta for me, exactly where they are, what they're doing, the plan. It's just all a bit of a mystery still after 2 years, and I thought it really sort of summed it up last night. They got off to the perfect start, and you'd really expect them to sort of kick on. This was a big week for Arsenal. You had last night's game, and then you got Aston Villa on Friday. Win those two matches, and they'd be sitting in the top four going into the weekend, albeit having played a game more. But still, it's a very nice position to be in. So it felt like a really big week, and you wanted to see them really kick on and, flex their muscles and say, look, just show they mean business, really, with these two home games. And having got off to the good start, you really expected them to kick on and go on and kill that game off and show what they're about, but they did the exact opposite. Really went into their shell after what was a good start. They played pretty decently for that first 20 minutes, got the goal, were pressing well, playing with a bit of intensity, and then they just disappeared into their shell. They just didn't really know what to do. They lost their shape. And in the end, I thought Palace were the better team, absolutely the better team. They deserved to win. I think the XG shows that Arsenal were quite a way ahead of Palace. I think it was something like 1.57 to 0.53 or something like that. And look, I'm not a big XG enthusiast, but that shows that Arsenal had the clearer chances. And perhaps they did. But I think on the whole, in terms of the performance, Palace were the better team. There's no doubt about it. For me, they played with a structure. They attacked with a threat. Everything that Arsenal didn't really. And it was just really disappointing. Like I said, that Tottenham game, you really felt a little bit fresh. It felt new. The new faces are on board. Arsenal played with a vibrancy about them, and you really hoped that was the moment that was going to ignite their season. So to follow that up with the two performances they have, it's just really disappointing, and it's kind of sucked the life out of that Tottenham game. I mean, Tottenham already now 4 points ahead of Arsenal again after only a couple of weeks after that North London derby. They've kicked on. Arsenal have gone back downwards. And that's just really disappointing. And, it was a performance that left me feeling very flat, I have to admit, yesterday. And, I said in yesterday's video that I was hoping Arteta was going to go with the 4-3-3, play the extra attacker, play with Nicolas Pepe instead of Sambi. He did that. He played with the team that I wanted, and it just didn't work. I'll hold my hands up on that one. That formation didn't work for me at all. Odegaard was far too deep, couldn't influence the game. He had a really poor game, Odegaard, playing in that position. Partey was left totally exposed at times. Partey didn't play well at all either. Saka, he played on the right, which on the left, which I just don't understand why he did that. He had Pepe on the right, Saka on the left. I just don't like Saka over there. I much prefer Saka on the right, and I prefer Pepe on the left. And so that was disappointing to see. And he just had players out of position. Smith Rowe was playing deep. It just didn't work. There was far too many gaps. Palace exploited it. They got through very, very easily into that midfield when they broke the lines, and it just didn't work. It reminded me, England did it. Like I said it again in yesterday's video. Southgate did it in that game against Hungary for England. It sort of played the extra attacker, went 4-3-3, and it didn't work. They sort of went away from what they're good at, and it didn't work for England. And I thought it was very, very similar last night, and I'll be surprised if Mikel sticks with that again against Aston Villa. I think he'll go back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. It was another indicator last night how much Arsenal miss Granit Xhaka when he's not playing as well. Arteta spoke about that after the game. They do miss him. The stats don't lie. When Xhaka's in the team, Arsenal win more games, they score more goals, they concede less goals. It's just plain and simple. You might have your opinions on Xhaka, and I do. I'm not saying that he's the be all and end all. And I said it already in the summer, I think they should have replaced him with someone better in the summer, but they didn't do that. But what is, in my mind, absolutely crystal clear is that when he doesn't play, Arsenal miss him, and they missed him last night, and they missed him against Brighton. And it is a real shame just after that Tottenham game when everything looked, really, really tidy, and Saka and Partey you thought might go down and actually nail down a decent central midfield partnership for the first time since Partey arrived. To lose Saka has been a big blow, and I thought last night absolutely was a case in point in terms of how important he is to the side when he's available. And he just brings a bit of calmness. He gets the ball off the defence, he splits the lines for the attack. He's just a really, really important player for this Arsenal team, and he still is, despite whatever you may think of him. He definitely is, and I thought they missed him last night, and it was a poor. I mean, Mikel said after the game, he said, I don't think we were lucky. You can say we got lucky because we scored a last kick of the game, but overall, I think we deserved not to lose. He was asked what disappointed him the most. He said the lack of composure to get hold of the ball, to understand what we had to do, and to show more quality. We started to defend something after scoring the goal, and that's what I didn't really like. We started to play not forwards, and we kept the ball in the wrong areas and put ourselves in trouble. That's the period I didn't like. I think we got better in the second half, and the start was better. We had some control, but we just gave the goals away. And he's right, they just sat back at 1-0, they got themselves in front, and then they sat back. They just stopped playing. They stopped doing everything good that they've been doing in the first 20 minutes, and they just let Palace get back in the game, and it was just disappointing. The game was there to be killed off yesterday, and instead Arsenal let Palace back in, and they were very, very fortunate in the end to get the draw. And just raises more questions. It does, about Arteta and exactly where they're going under him, because 2 years now. I mean, Vieira's only been in his job for a couple of months for Crystal Palace, and you look at what he's had to do, the turnaround he's had with the players who have left, rebuilding after Hodgson, and then you look at already they seem to be, they just look structured. They look like they have a plan, and you just don't know that with Arsenal. One game Arsenal do look like they've got a structure and they've got a plan, and I thought they did against Burnley. They did definitely against Tottenham, but then they just go back, revert to type, and it's just really disappointing. There's no progression with Arsenal. It just seems one step forward, two step back every time, and yeah, disappointing. So that's my thoughts on last night's game. Let me know what you guys think. As always, give me your views in the comments below. I just wanted to also, before we sort of moved on, I wanted to talk about that VAR farce, or not even VAR farce. I mean, it was a VAR farce because they should have picked it up, but I also think the referee should have picked it up as well, because it was just so blatant. I mean, the McArthur incident on Bukayo Saka, every time I watch it, it just stuns me even more. Even now, like a day after, I watch it and I think, how have you not got a red card for that? He literally booted Saka up to the moon almost. It was vicious, and Saka was right. There is no justification for, his eyes were on the ball. He didn't see Saka. Saka was standing right in front of him. He was so late. The ball wasn't even near McArthur. I just don't get how you can look at that incident and not send him off. On the field, in real time, it was a sending off, and how VAR looked at that and didn't think that was a clear and obvious error by Mike Dean and call him over to at least have a look at it. I just don't know. It's just, Saka's injured as well from it. That's how bad it was. He literally booted him full lid. I just don't know. If that's not a red card, then what is? It was so dangerous, so reckless, so out of control. I just don't get how you can't give a red card for that. It was a farcical decision. It was a farcical decision on the field, and it was definitely a farcical decision back in the VAR headquarters as well, because I can't believe they could watch that with the replays they've got and not think it was a red card. Mikel certainly did. He said, I saw the action and I can't believe how the player continued on the pitch. I don't get it. With what we were explaining at the start of the season and what happened tonight, it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't. Look, would it have changed things? You have to think it probably would have done. That was still in the first half. Don't forget. And Palace playing with 10 men for that long, Arsenal leading at that point as well. You feel like that would have made a big, big difference. There's no excuses for Arsenal's poor performance, but on another day, that's absolutely, Palace should have been down to 10 men, and you would think that Arsenal would have gone on and won that game had that been the case. So it was a really disappointing performance. I just don't. It's just another moment when you look at it and just think, what you're doing back in the VAR headquarters, because I just don't get it. It was just such a blatant red card, and Bukayo Saka's injured now, forced off at half time because of it. Not surprising. It must have been so sore. And Mikel speaking about the injury after the game, he said, I don't know, we'll have to see how it evolves. Obviously he couldn't continue, and he's a boy that's pretty tough and wants to keep playing, but he couldn't carry on. We have a quick turnaround now for the next game, which is Villa on Friday, so we'll have to see how he evolves. I mean, I think Saka's definitely going to be a big doubt for that game on Friday night, because I imagine that is going to bruise something rotten over the next couple of days. It was such a big hit from McArthur on him. So I think you've got to look at Saka being a big doubt for that game against Aston Villa, which will obviously be a disappointment on Friday night. In terms of Thomas Partey, I just wanted to talk about Thomas Partey as well. I thought he really struggled last night, and I think when I talk about Granit Xhaka, like I did earlier in this video, I just think Thomas Partey will certainly miss Granit Xhaka as well. Him not being there, those two, you feel like that there's the ingredients to be a really solid partnership there, and the formation didn't help Thomas Partey last night. I think he was left very isolated. He had Odegaard dropping too far, sort of deepest of the lot to play alongside him, but Martin Odegaard doesn't really play in that position for me, and Partey was just being left exposed. There was so much space all around him. Every time Palace split the sort of line and got the ball beyond Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, suddenly they were just in on Partey, and they had sort of 2 or 3 runners all around, and Partey was being left hopelessly exposed. And I thought he really struggled because of that. He made the mistake that led to the first goal, got robbed in possession, and yeah, it's just a sort of difficult time for Thomas Partey. He had a really good international break, scored in both games for Ghana, but he just hasn't quite hit the ground running yet this season, and I don't think he's been helped by Xhaka going out. And I think Mikel's got to go back to the 4-2-3-1. I mean, Mohamed Elneny, I know Elneny gets an awful lot of grief, but when you look at what Elneny can do, and this is international football you're talking about, yes, he's pretty limited, but what he can do is, out of everyone in that squad, who's the most like Granit Xhaka in terms of what he can do, you have to say Mohamed Elneny is that person, dropping deep, receiving the ball off the back four, sort of staying fairly regimented in central midfield. And you do wonder if he is possibly the better option at the moment without Granit Xhaka in the side to play alongside Thomas Partey, rather than either going with Sambi at the moment. He looks pretty inexperienced still. He obviously made the mistake for the second goal, or going with the 4-3-3 and moving players around who are perhaps playing out of position. So it'll be interesting to see if Elneny does come back into Arteta's thinking at the moment. And but yeah, I thought Thomas Partey is certainly struggling without Granit Xhaka alongside him, and he needs a little bit of help in that midfield area, I think, and he didn't really get that last night, and he struggled because of it. Okay, before I go, I'm going to go through my player ratings from the performance last night. As you can imagine, not too high, few sevens, couple of sevens, and that is about it. I'm going to start with Van Ramsdale. I thought I had a decent game. Maybe could have done better with a second goal. It wasn't in the corner, it was down the middle, but it was a very good hit from Odsonne-Edouard, who, by the way, I thought played very well for Crystal Palace. He impressed me a lot. I think that could prove to be a very good sign of Crystal Palace. A player Arsenal tracked for a long time, didn't decide to make the move for him in the summer, and I do wonder if they might live to regret that, because he's had a very good start to life at Crystal Palace, and I thought he was very impressive last night. But so yeah, maybe Ramsdale could have done a little bit better, but he was a bit unsighted. Ben White was there. I'll get to Ben White in a minute for that goal, because I thought he was poor. But Ramsdale made some decent saves on top of that one. Really good one from Gallagher. His passing was good, his distribution was good. So Ramsdale gets a 7 for me. Tomiyasu, I'm going to give a 6. Did perfectly fine. I thought Tomiyasu linked up well with Pepe for the opening goal. He gets a 6. Ben White, I thought played well. I'm going to give him a 6, but I thought he was poor for the second goal, really poor. I think you've got to go out and engage Odsonne-Edouard as soon as he gets the ball. If you do that, it's barely even a chance for Crystal Palace, I think. But he decided to back off, and he let Edouard run into the box and get his shot away. And I just don't understand what the thinking was there behind that. When Edouard received that ball, he was still about 30-35 yards out from goal, or certainly 30 yards out from goal. And there wasn't actually, it didn't feel like there was that much danger. If Ben White had just gone and engaged him and gone in one-on-one, it would have given Odsonne-Edouard an awful lot to do, but instead he just backed off and let the striker get into the penalty area and get a shot away. I thought it was really poor defending from Ben White in that one, and in what was otherwise a decent performance from him, and he sort of set up the second goal as well, the equaliser, with his shot that was blocked on the line. And so yeah, that was disappointing from White in what was, on the whole, I thought a pretty solid performance from him. He probably would have got a 7 from me had it not been for that, so he gets a 6. Gabriel, I thought, was pretty good. Again, he's had a good start to the season. That continues. I'm going to give him a 7. Kieran Tierney, I'm going to give a 6. 2, hit the bar late on. I was quite unlucky with that one. And now to the midfield. Thomas Partey, as I said, Thought it was poor, disappointing night for him. Went close with one good effort in the second half, which curled just wide from distance, but got robbed for the first goal and just struggled, having been left isolated at times. He gets a 4 from me. Thomas Partey. Martin Odegaard gets a 4 as well. Thought he was really, really poor last night. Played very, very deep in that 4-3-3 formation. Just didn't work. I think he needs to be far higher up the pitch for him to be effective. Just didn't really have any sort of impact on the game at all. So he gets a 4 as well. Smith Rowe, I'm going to give a 5. Not really. Again, he was playing too deep in that formation for me. I want to see him higher up the pitch. He gets a 5. Saka gets a 5 as well. Pepe given a 5. Pepe good for the first goal. Always kind of makes things happen when he's on the pitch, but other than that, it was just a pretty disappointing night. I thought from Pepe, his touch was poor. Could have done better. So he gets a 5 as well. Bamiyang going to give a 7. I thought Auba played really well. He pressed well. He played with intensity. It was a good finish for the goal. So he gets a 7. And my man of the match is Alexander Lacazette. Only played for 23 minutes, I think, but obviously got the equaliser and just made a big, big impact when he got on the pitch. And I think you got to look at Lacazette starting against Villa on Friday night, because I thought he made an impact against Brighton. I thought he definitely made an impact yesterday. I wouldn't. What you do, I don't know. If that means playing Aubameyang potentially on the left, then that's what you do. Saka's injury might help with that. And you don't really want to go back to the whole moving Aubameyang out of position, but I think it's tough given the form that Lacazette's shown recently in the last couple of games when he's come off the bench. I think you need to find a way of getting him on the pitch at the moment. And yeah, he gets my man of the match, even though he played 23 minutes with 7. Martinelli, I thought, was pretty bright when he came on as well and actually looked to make things happen as well. So fair play to him. Sambi Lagonga, he played the second half, came on at half time. I give Sambi a 5. Got robbed of possession leading up to their second goal. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate your time as anyway. Sorry this one was a little bit downbeat, but yeah, a little bit disappointing last night. I have to admit, a bit of a worrying performance from the Arsenal. Hopefully on Friday they will be better and they'll get back to winning ways against Aston Villa. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. I'll try and do some videos between now and then to keep you as updated as I possibly can. Have a good week, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.